Hey guys, what's up? My name is Sky Webb and I'm here to talk about a true crime story that I cannot get off my mind. But before I get started, I just want to put out a little disclaimer that I mean no harm to any of the victims or the victims' families, and I wish everybody who was hurt within this story the most peace and solace either in rest or in recovery. With that out of the way, happy Valentine's Day, or if you hate Valentine's Day as much as I do, happy Valencrimes Day, which is basically the same thing except Valencrimes Day focuses on murder instead of like love and stuff, so obviously it's better. Today we're going to look into the Valencrime murder of Joanne Nelson, so go run yourself a bath, grab yourself some chocolate ice cream, and I'll jump into it. Joanne Nelson was born in 1983, making her only 22 years old at the time of her murder in 2005. Her friends described Joanne as being one of the most friendly people that they knew. She was kind, she was caring, she was funny. They said she was down to earth and bubbly and chatty and just overall a really good person to be around. She lived with her fiance, Paul Dyson, who was 33 years old at the time, so about 10 years older than Joanne. At this point, the couple had already planned their ideal wedding. They wanted to be surrounded by friends and family in Mexico the following year to get married. And Joanne was so excited to get married. Paul Dyson seemed like the perfect guy. They were happily engaged, soon to be happily married, and they had their entire futures and lives together to look forward to. Joanne was just over the moon. I mean, who wouldn't be at the prospect of living the rest of your life with someone that you love and adore? Like, that sounds perfect. But unfortunately, Joanne's fiance Paul had a little bit of a violent past and a violent streak, which he was able to hide from her really surprisingly well. Paul had actually been married once before to a woman named Jenny Clark, and they actually had a daughter together called Chloe. I'm just going to put in a clip here to demonstrate how well that marriage went.
We got on really well at first. He was a real charmer, swept me off my feet. He proposed after 2 weeks. On our wedding night, we all had a lot to drink. We went into town and I remember Paul was being sick outside the club. I think I probably had a go at him about it. And then he was screaming in my face. Next thing I remember is his fist just come up like this. I don't remember to this day whether he did hit me or not. I don't actually remember the impact of it.
I think it's worth noting that she did actually have to go to hospital that night in order to get stitches. So make of that what you will.
Definitely had an aggression problem. Even I nearly had to raise my voice and he'd puff up over me or like back me into a wall. I'd say, you're really scaring me, but his face would just be blank. He's even locked me in the house and I'd there just banging on the wall, screaming for the neighbours to come and get me out. He had to leave in the end. He said he'd kill me. He said, one day you'll wake up and I'll be stood over here. Or you'll be walking down an alley and I'll always be behind you.
Paul Dyson could be a very angry man, and he was an even angrier child. So he actually picked up jiu-jitsu from a pretty young age as a way to try and get out some of that aggression and some of that anger in a more healthy way. And jiu-jitsu is something that he continued to do right up into his 20s. And it was the skills he learned from jiu-jitsu of like self-defense and being able to defend other people and protect other people that he was able to get a job as a bouncer at a pub. Now, as a bouncer, he would tell his friends about how dangerous his job was and how extreme it was and how he would have to break up all these fights, and all these fights he would be in himself, and it was this big, scary, dangerous, heroic job. He would take the smallest minute detail from one of his shifts and he would blow it up and exaggerate it into this huge big story, this whole big drama that was completely unrealistic and unnecessary to do. It seemed like it was really important to Paul to come across as being a tough guy and someone who's strong and powerful and intimidating, when in reality he kind of just wasn't any of those things. He also lied about his dad. His dad had actually gone to prison for manslaughter after he stabbed and killed his wife's side hoe. So that was Paul's mother's boo on the side, whatever that was, stabbed him to death. So he went to prison and he would make up lies about his dad, but instead of saying like, oh, I don't know, he didn't really kill him or there was more to the story or trying to downplay it, he actually went to the opposite extreme and made out like he was some big bad gangster with all of these mob connections, like all these dangerous important connections, and just a very violent man and very scary and very intimidating, and don't fuck with us because my dad's a gangster, and like just again unrealistic things that people were like, no. And people thought he was like a compulsive liar. Like people got to the point where they thought he couldn't even help it because of how much and how extremely he lied. So on Valentine's Day 2005, Joanne went missing. Paul Dyson is the one who made the phone call to police to alert them about the fact that she had gone missing, and sitting next to him while he made this phone call were Joanne's parents, her mum and her dad. From there, Paul would do a lot of press, a lot of interviews, a lot of public appeals, asking for information and asking for help in regards to his missing fiancée, and no one really knows whether he did this out of like the love of attention or whether he was just fearful of what might happen, but he definitely played the scared and worried boyfriend very well.
I want to know where she is. I want her back.
That being said, only 7 days after Joanne had gone missing, Paul actually did admit to killing her, unfortunately. He had actually told a friend, confided in a friend, that he was feeling really suicidal, and the reason for this was because his fiancée wasn't coming back. And at first they were like, no dude, she will come back, we'll find her, it's fine. And he was like,
no, she's not coming back because I killed her.
And that friend called up Paul's mum and told her, and Paul's mum is the one that actually turned him into police and made sure he was able to confess to police as well. So round of applause for Paul's mum. Paul told police that on Valentine's Day, Joanne had asked him to put on a load of washing, and in response to that, he turned around and strangled her to death. He said that he snapped when he heard this question because it triggered him, and the reason it triggered him was because he didn't know how to use the washing machine. He didn't know how to use the washing machine, and so he killed his fiancée, because obviously that's like your go-to response. I don't know how to use this. Oh, better kill my fiancé. Obviously. So by now, police could actually see on CCTV footage that on the day of the murder, Paul did go to the shops and he picked up an abundance of cleaning supplies, cleaning chemicals, as well as garbage bags and tape. He told police that he had put Joanne into the back of her own car and then driven her into the countryside and buried her. Now they were able to see that he picked up petrol on that route that he tried to show them, but while showing them this route that he took, he wasn't able to lead them to her body because he had forgotten where it was. So police were like, how could you forget that? And he was like, I don't know, but I don't remember. All Paul could remember was a couple of landmarks which proved that he had been there, but he couldn't remember exactly how to get to where he buried her. What he did remember was this gate, and it had like a little metal lock thing and whatever. So they had a police sketch artist draw this gate, and they went on a massive hunt for this gate because Paul said that he had driven inside this gate, stopped, buried her, and then left. So they figured if they found this gate, they would find her body. But weeks and weeks and weeks went by and they still hadn't found this gate, and they still didn't know where Joanne's body was. They did, however, have a forensic psychologist look at Paul's clothing from the day that he buried her, and she was actually able to find all these tiny microscopic little clues, I guess you could say, of where he might have been due to the plants that were on his clothes. And so she was actually able to narrow it down to about 3 exact locations where all of the plants found on his clothes would be in the same spot, were likely to be in the same spot. And so that's how they were going to find her body. But they actually stumbled across the gate by accident. They were just driving past and saw it and went, hold on a minute, that's the gate that we've been looking for. And they had actually driven down that road multiple times and searched that entire area multiple times and not found the gate. So it was a little bit odd that they found it now by accident after just having a breakthrough that would lead them to finding the gate. It's very weird timing, but so they found this gate. They were expecting to find Joanne's body right there, very nearby, but it wasn't. It was actually a fair distance away from the gate, so they actually had to go exploring looking for her body. And that's another inconsistency where Paul said it should have been right there, but it wasn't. And it's just one of those weird details that they couldn't understand why he got that wrong. It just didn't add up to police. They thought something was weird going on. Anyway, they marked on a map where they found the gate versus where all these spots were picked out from the forensic psychologist, and it actually did match up. So I think that's fantastic technology that she was able to essentially lead them right to a body by these tiny microscopic plant clues. I just think that's phenomenal. So now that they found the body, the case was pretty much over, and so Paul Dyson went to court. In court, the prosecution tried to prove that Paul Dyson actually did have murderous intent and that his actions were callous and not just, some big horrible accident. And they were able to prove this by demonstrating that when he killed her, he made no effort to resuscitate her. He made no effort to get help. He didn't call for help. He didn't ask for assistance. He didn't do anything in order to try and save her life by any means. What he did do, however, is he went to the shops and he bought garbage bags and he bought tape and he bought cleaning supplies and he cleaned his entire apartment to try and get rid of any evidence that he had killed her. He then tied her hands and feet together, shoved her in garbage bags, threw her in her own boot, drove her to the woods, and then buried her, and then concealed her with trees and branches and leaves. And it was just very obviously done on purpose. These were very deliberate steps put into action in order to hide the murder. So on the 9th of November 2005, Paul Dyson was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 16 years in prison after pleading guilty for the murder of Joanne Nelson. So that is the story of Joanne Nelson, this year's Valencrimes Murder. I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to give this video a big thumbs up if you feel like it. I would really appreciate it. And be sure to subscribe so you can see all my new videos. I post every single Thursday all about true crime. Let me know what you think about this story in the comments down below. I would love to know what you think about Paul and his inability to remember all of these details. I want to know whether you think he was telling the truth, and if he was telling the truth, why couldn't he remember these things? Also, why do you think that he told his friend and confessed to his friend that he had killed her after putting so many steps in place in order to hide it? Do you think he really was suicidal and feeling guilty? And I really would love to know what you think about his own mother turning him in. I think it's a good thing, but I know a lot of people are very family orientated and very tight-knit, and I'm curious what you guys think about that. Do you think his mum betrayed him by doing that? Let me know in the comments down below, or you can head over to my Facebook, which is skyweb with 3 B's, and let me know there. I would love to hear your opinion. Make sure you guys are being safe out there. Don't get engaged to bouncers because they think that they're God's gift to this earth, and you don't need that in your lives. Don't ask men to do laundry, and most importantly, do not celebrate Valentine's Day because it sucks, asshole. Be safe out there, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.